Good afternoon and welcome back to the Internet of Insurance, and I'm delighted to be joined by Nick Dumonde from Fujitsu. Nick, good to see you.
Thank you.
Now, you were speaking yesterday about some real-life examples of IoT in insurance. Can you tell us where we are with the here and now with IoT?
Sure, it's a pleasure to be here. At the moment, IoT is just really taking off in personal lines. In that space, there are initial works going on in the connected home. There are a number of insurers we're working with and others as well that have pulled together propositions around the smart home. And in the motor space, we're quite clearly, telematics has been around for a long time, and in my view, that's plateaued in the UK market. But we see coming forward with the introduction of self-drive cars, that completely changing, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. In the health space is Vitality, and with Fitbit and with the healthcare providers, there's also a lot of work going on in the area of introducing biometric measurements in patients recovering from surgery. And we're working in Ireland, for example, in that area, and that's actually helping patients leave hospital much earlier, reducing healthcare fees. So I think that area in particular, right now in the personal lines area, is a real growth area, whereas the other ones will develop more slowly in the next few years. But I think in one area that many people are in the insurance sector sort of overlook is in their rush towards personal lines is actually what's already happening in commercial lines. And in commercial lines, many of insurance customers have been using IoT for years in their work, in their business. So, for example, RFID tagging, tracking components, both in logistics but in manufacturing, that they're very strong. We're using movement detection in some really interesting places. For example, we have a connected cow, of all things. And the connected cow is being used to track the cow's fertility and when it's the right time of the month for the cow to be most fertile, which is helping farmers actually get more productivity from their livestock. But actually, if you think about it, it enables an insurer, through all of these sorts of examples in the commercial world, to be tracking and getting data from their commercial customers in a way that they've never been able to do before, to work in partnership with them to say, well, actually, now we can help you reduce your risks and therefore your premium. And those insurers that are further ahead in this space really have an opportunity to help get new customers and get the connection and the longevity of a relationship with the customer in a way that they've not had before.
And so going forward, where do you see the major disruption coming from IoT? We were discussing it a few minutes ago about car manufacturers, and as you say, the kind of driverless car era could change a lot of things. For one example, where do you see the market changing through IoT?
I think the two biggest disruptions that the insurers need to look out for are in-home and driverless cars, as you say. I think driverless cars, I think a lot of people are aware of. If you take examples of what's happening, as Volvo have already come out very publicly and said that their intention with their car going forward is when it's in automatic mode, they will provide the insurance. And they're not talking about white labeling insurance, they're setting up their own insurance company. They will take all of that customer interaction away from the insurers today and all of the business away and just reinsure out the back end of the captive. So there's a lot of disruption that the insurance industry is going to face in the motor space. Ford have said that they want to come out and provide a mobility solution so that as an individual you can have a small car during the week, maybe a family car at the weekend to go away, for bigger trips at the weekend and go on holiday, and you might want to go away with your wife on a holiday in a sports car. So you can have access to a nice selection of cars, but at the same time they're going to provide all the insurance. What's left for the insurers that don't push ahead with this now? It's a real disruption coming ahead, and I think a number of insurers are aware of this, but they're sort of staring into it and wondering what to do.
You mentioned a second ago about insurers staring into the abyss and not really sure what to do, and there's an interesting point, because I was at an ABI conference some months back, and a kind of panicked CIO behind me on a discussion about IoT was saying, you're talking about completely changing my business model, and sounded quite panicked by this trend. Why do you think, is it a cultural issue that why insurers aren't embracing this, or is it a technology issue as well?
No, I think it's cultural. They've been in a business for hundreds of years. They're used to that they're seen as a financial services provider. I think some of them are worried, would their customers actually accept buying other products from them? Well, actually, interestingly, we did a survey a few months ago, and one of the questions we asked is, would you like to share your data with your insurer to get discounts on other products? And over 60% of people said yes, and that's across Europe. And we also said, would you be interested in buying, for example, broadband or other telecom services from your insurer? And again, unprompted, 35% of people were saying yes as well. And that's without really taking a proposition to market, where a lot of people don't think ahead. So I think a lot of times insurers are worried about their brand, whether it will stretch to it. How do we set up a new line of business? How do we actually get into the business? They're probably unaware that they can go and talk to people like us and others who already provide it for people like the post office. M&S have moved into it. Tesco's have done it. That it's quite normal for people to be actually thinking, how do we expand the brand? But I think insurers are only just waking up to they've got to change that proposition with their customers, or they're going to lose their customers.
Nick, really appreciate your time today, and I'm sure I'll see you around. Thank you.
Thank you very much.